So you want to learn about the sexy long-haired stallion on your $100 bill? His name, Benjamin Franklin. Inventor, writer, entrepreneur, diplomat. Ladies' man extraordinaire. And even with just that, it's not enough to describe all the hats he wore in his lifetime. So let's rewind a bit. Oh, the 1700s, a time of powdered wigs, colonial expansion, and extremely questionable dental hygiene. Nice. Born on January 17, 1706 in Boston, young Ben was the 15th of 17 children. Yes, you heard that right. 17 kids. Can you imagine the queue for the bathroom every morning? Total nightmare. So as a kid, Ben was clever and loved to read, so his pop thought, hey, let's make Ben a minister, you know? Give one back to the big guy upstairs sort of thing. Only issue, Ben was sort of a skeptic. Let us give thanks for the bountiful blessings we are about to receive. Yeah, the food's getting cold. How about we pray over all the provisions once and call it good for the season, Pop? Benjamin! So instead of sermons, Ben preferred swimming in the Charles River, pulling pranks with his friends, and just having a good time. As a kid, Ben created some of the first paddles and flippers to swim faster, as well as a kite that could glide him through the river without having to paddle. But despite his inherent genius, he drops out of school at just the age of 10. But not because someone on the internet told him day trading Dogecoin, Diddycoin, Diddly Squat Coin would make him a millionaire. That's right. Unfortunately, his pop realizes he just doesn't have enough money to send him to Harvard. And what's the point if his son doesn't want to be a minister anyways? So he ends up apprenticing for his big bro as a printer. And our boy takes an interest in every facet, from the technical details to the content and business aspects. Finally, when his brother releases a newspaper, he asks if he can write for it. Pretty please? Nope, this is a big boy stuff. But you still need a nightlight. It's called ambiance, okay? I'm not scared. Now beat it. Okay. That's not gonna stop Ben though. He's like, okay, I'll just go over here and create this granny caricature called Silence Do-Good. She's this sassy, sometimes witty, pretty chilled out lady. That is, of course, unless you mess with her. Ben had quite the imagination. So under this pseudonym, he starts covertly dropping stories outside the newsroom. Wow, there's some good stuff. Yeah, some G's must have written this. Oh yeah, Ben is riding high. They're finally printing his stuff, because it turns out he's pretty good at this. But that was cut short when his brother discovers it's him. And the jealous jerk puts an end to it and punishes Ben. So, Ben goes, I can't live like this. I gotta get out. Sounds easy, right? No. You see, technically, it was illegal to run away as an apprentice under the current laws. But that wasn't gonna stop Ben. Oh, he so hated arbitrary authority, big government tyrannies, and small, petty, personal tyrannies from a bossy big brother. So he sold his books, ringed up his best bud Collins to arrange for a ship to take him to New York City. So they make it to the docks, and they tell the ship captain that he knocked up a girl and he's gotta get out of here. She tricked me, Cap. I swear, I didn't even want to do it. Her friends are gonna force him to marry her, so he's gotta bounce. Just say it wasn't me. But they caught me on the sofa.
Wasn't me.
Then they saw the marks on my shoulder. Anyways, with the captain well-humored, Ben sets sail, and he rolls into the Big Apple looking for a gig. And he meets with a printer, who's like, sorry kid, no work here, but hey, head to Philly, my son might have something for you. So off he goes to the city of brotherly love. So picture this, our guy, the OG, B. Frank, stumbles into Philly. He's hungry, tired, broke, looking a bit rusty. He spends his last time on a piece of bread, and while munching, he notices a crowd in the town square heading into a Quaker meeting. Not the oats. But yes, they sort of look like that. Anyways, these Quakers are a Christian sect that are quite reserved and, well, a little quirky. Let's just say that. A little quirky. Curious and exhausted, he follows them in and ends up crashing right there, taking his first nap in a city he'd soon call home. Instead of feeling sorry for himself, Ben jumps right into action. He lands a job and starts mingling with the town's intellectuals. The kind who actually read books, not the kind that go crazy when they lose their Mango Tango vape pod.
Where's my vape?
And oh boy, Ben's not just good, he's great. So much so, he catches the eye of none other than the governor, William Keith of Pennsylvania. I like you. We need a high-quality newspaper here in Philadelphia, and I think a young, smart, strapping man such as yourself should do it. Ben's eyes light up. A newspaper? Him? Oh, he's already dreaming up headlines. Anything you need, boy, I'll support you. In fact, go to good old cheery London, get the finest printing press, type and all that fancy stuff. But Mr. Keith, I don't have money like that. Oh, Benjamin, don't you worry, son. It's on my house. So the week of the departure rolls around, but Ben still hasn't received any letter of credit, so he goes to see Governor Keith. Benjamin, to what do I owe the pleasure? Hey, Gov, I'm here about that letter of credit you promised me. Oh, yeah, totally, I remember that. I sail tomorrow? Oh, it'll be on the ship. Really? Yeah, I swear it, Benjamin. Now, toodaloo, don't doubt me. All right, you don't gotta tell me twice. Across the pond we go to Alundra. So, on the voyage, Ben asks to see the mailroom for Keith's letter of credit, and the crew erupts in laughter, pointing mockingly towards the empty mailroom saying, "Go ahead, check it out, buddy. Promise you, there's nothing there." Sensing his confusion, one of his friends breaks the truth to him. Look, mate, Keith's a fraud. Don't be silly, he's the governor. This is chump change for him. Sorry, mate. Keith's buried to his eyeballs in debt. Cool. Cool. Arriving in London, Ben realized he'd been duped. No money, no contacts, no problem? Well, if you thought no problem, then you thought right, because Ben runs the same playbook he used in Philly, going through all the printers and showing off what a good old American country boy can do compared to these city folk. Honestly, not too hard to get a job when the competition's grown up in tiny cramped London apartments and, well, drunk 24/7. Average Bretonian day. Beer with a side of porridge. Beer with unseasoned fish. Beer with the national dish of Great Britain, chicken tikka masala. Fun fact, while learning to run world-class printing operations, Ben almost took a different path. Becoming a full-time swim instructor. Yep, teaching Brits how to swim in the Thames. It was more swim practice than, immunity test back in those days. Long story short, after 18 months, Franklin secures a loan and makes his way back to good old Philly. And he comes back a guns a-blazing. Cue the self-improvement winner arc! He dives into learning 13 virtues to live by. Temperance, silence, order, resolution, frugality, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, humility. Ben also starts his own boys club, the Junto. It's like an 18th century mastermind group. Packed with smart, ambitious guys, artisans, merchants, tradesmen. They debate hot topics, swap books, and brainstorm ways to help the community. A think tank, social club, and self-help group all in one. And no, it wasn't some sort of secret Freemason club, but yes, Ben did become a Grand Master of the Freemasons later on. In 1729, Ben launched his own newspaper and printing shop, soon becoming the top paper in Philadelphia. Naturally, he's the main writer, crafting stories under his name, and some whimsical pseudonyms. There's Alice Addertongue. Think of her as the 1700s XOXO gossip girl, who also mocks other gossipers. If you got nothing nice to say, at least make it interesting. And darling, lose the wigs, they're so last season. Anthony Aftertwit, the guy who gives tongue-in-cheek takes on married life. More eye rolls than actual complaints.
The missus isn't home, right? Marriage. Can't live with them, can't make a sandwich without them. Am I right, boys? Darling, I was just telling the fellas how your sandwiches are the absolute best. On it.
Shame we can't fix your taste in jokes. There was also Polly Baker, a bold critique of society's double standards. She's calling out the court for putting women on trial for what men get away with. So if having kids is a sin, why aren't the fathers here with me, pray tell? Funny how that works. Let me ask you this, would I get more respect if I'd scammed my neighbors or pulled off some grand heist instead of, raising a family? Mind you though, most people knew these were Franklin, so it was more of a literary technique than anything else. Anyways, our boy gets married in 1730. It was a good marriage, but he wasn't super passionate about her. Just a happy, sensible marriage. Let's just say, albeit disputed, Ben may or may not have been the most faithful partner. Finally, in 1732, he published his first edition of Poor Richard's Almanac. Almanacs were popular books packed with useful info, including weather forecasts, tips on farming, and a bit of self-help. It was like the 18th century version of life hacks, and let's just say, Ben's wasn't your average almanac. This one's got jokes, wisdom, and a bit of sass, all delivered by Ben's most famous pseudonym, Poor Richard. Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. This and many other popular sayings you might have heard of originate from these almanac issues, including my favorite, be at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let every new year find you a better man. And guess what? People ate it up. Ben sold 10,000 copies a year, making him you never have to work a day in your life again rich. It was the first great literary success in America. Now, I know 10,000 doesn't sound like a lot today, but when considering the overall population and the literacy rates of the time, it meant the almanac was reaching a significant portion of the population, making it by far the greatest literary success of the time. His print shop and newspaper also became like a media conglomerate via profitable partnerships and franchises throughout the colonies. I'm talking Newport and New York to Charleston and Antigua. That's vertical integration in the 1700s for you business majors. Now, if your Asian parents are listening to this, you might want to maybe put on some headphones. Ben Franklin's side quests are about to be more impressive than your existence. Roughly at the same time of his rise in business, Franklin started to become more involved with a number of civic affairs throughout his life, including the first subscription library in the US. Help! Books are more expensive than my rent. Voila! Now you can borrow books without selling your left kidney. Next up, he founds the University of Pennsylvania. Help! I don't want to study Latin at Harvard and become a snob. Voila! An education that won't make you insufferable at dinner parties. Founds first hospital in Philadelphia. Help! I've got the sniffles and this bucket of leeches isn't helping. Voila! Now you can get medical attention from doctors with medicine and stuff. First fire brigade. Help! My house is lit, literally. Voila! Now it's only lightly roasted. After all that, Ben's running a successful business? Check. Saving lives? A check. Being awesome? A triple check. So, he ends up delegating his business off since he's already rich and he wants to pursue other interests more intensely. Science is cool. I'm gonna be a scientist, dude. Talking about breakthroughs in how diseases spread, understanding ocean currents, tracking the movement of northeastern storms, observing the harmful effects of lead poisoning, inventing the first catheter, designing the Franklin stove, and pioneering advancements in heating and refrigeration. But the most impactful discoveries and inventions Franklin made were in electricity and lightning. It all started a curiosity. Wow.
Gather around, she's electric.
Can I be electric too?
She's electric. Thank you. Thank you.
These theatrical experiments, along with a German magazine showcasing wonderful electrical experiments given to him by a friend, sparked Franklin's obsession with electricity. He then ran a series of experiments that led to insights such as all objects contain charges and you cannot create or destroy them, only move them, i.e. the insight that ultimately led to the conservation of charge, which is actually one of the longest standing rules in physics. Or the famous kite experiment with a key to attract electricity from the clouds, which revealed how storm clouds carry electrical charges and influence objects through induction. Yeah, this didn't happen. He also realized lightning strikes may be made out of electricity. This leads Franklin to the most famous invention of his time, the lightning rod. So what's the big deal? Well, you see, lightning wasn't exactly safe back in the day. Towns would often catch on fire as a result. Generally, people would huddle indoors during a storm, but the issue is it might hit your house and then the whole thing catches on fire. You were scared senseless. Since this metal rod is designed to attract lightning and give it a safe pass to the ground, it provides a preferred route for the electricity. Instead of hitting the roof and starting a fire, the electricity goes straight into the ground where it can't do any harm.
You're coming with us.
As a result, Franklin saves thousands of lives, makes Franklin hella popular in America and the rest of the world. But oh my, especially the French loved him for this.
C'est fantastique! Merci beaucoup, Mr. Franklin. You've sparked a revolution of safety.
In fact, he's so thrilled that he commands all his scientists to pay their express compliments to Franklin.
Monsieur, do you know what this will mean to the people? So many lives improved.
Yes, sire, that's great, but maybe we should tackle the economic downturn before it sinks us.
Oh, no need to stress. C'est la vie. Time to party. Besides, my wife's hair is already done. 2 miracles in one day. Can you believe it?
Back home, Harvard and Yale give him honorary degrees. Look, Dad, I finally got not 1, but 2 degrees, and all without attending a single class. It was said he found electricity a curiosity and left it a science. How enlightening. So as you were busy scrolling through TikTok all day, Franklin was on the rise in the political scene of the day. Elected to Pennsylvania's legislature, Franklin champions democracy and middle-class values, but emphasized self-reliance and community support over dependency. What is this, Canada?
Hey, sorry about that, buddy.
No freebies! Franklin quickly rises to become the leading figure in Pennsylvania. Serving in government deepened Franklin's disdain for governmental tyrannies. The British were taxing Pennsylvania left and right, but one group stayed untouchable. The Penn family. Yes, the very same Penns who the state is named after, living comfortably in England. They inherited the land through a royal charter granted a generation ago, avoiding every tax while the rest paid up. This blatant misuse of power infuriated Franklin and many others in the Pennsylvania legislature, fueling their push for a more fair and equitable system. All of this led to Ben being sent to London as an agent of the Pennsylvania legislature, tasked with representing their grievances. He spent 5 years there from 1757 to 1762, between the ages of 49 and 54. But that wasn't the end of it. In 1765, he went back to London again. While Franklin is in London, the situation back in the colonies intensifies. One by one, more colonies start asking him to represent them. Before long, he's not just speaking for Pennsylvania, he's representing all the colonies. So Franklin spends his time telling Parliament why their policies are terrible, but he's still moderate. That is, until he miscalculates when the Stamp Act gets introduced. He figures, hey, the British went broke defending us in the French and Indian War. What's a little tax in return? Also, I'll put my guy in charge as the tax collector. Should be a breeze. Yeah, not the best move. People are furious, calling him a traitor. A riot breaks out in Philadelphia, making it dangerous for his family. Just perfect. We ship him off and they ship back more taxes.
Hey guys, I'm here about that tax.
His buddy doesn't have a great time either. Healthy, wealthy, and wise? More like soaked, broke, and traumatized. So now he's unpopular back home, but he learns about the situation and turns things around. When he's called to Parliament to testify against the Stamp Act, he gives a popular speech and protects colonial interests. He lays out why the colonies despise the Stamp Act, how it's crippling colonial trade and creating nothing but anger. He tells them there's no rebellion to deal with yet, but bring your soldiers to enforce these laws and you might just end up creating one. Parliament takes his words seriously. The Stamp Act repealed. Franklin's testimony was strong enough to make the British rethink their stance. Back in the colonies, Franklin's reputation skyrockets. He quickly goes from being seen as a traitor to being hailed a hero.
I never doubted that, Franklin. Took the rest of you long enough.
See, I told you. Hey, where are you going?
Hey guys, still here.
Oh man. But you see, Parliament wasn't used to being anything but the ultimate authority.
Outrageous!
Preposterous!
In comes Charles Townshend, a key figure in British Parliament. Not just any MP, but the Chancellor of the Exchequer. Basically the guy in charge of all things money.
Now, Mr. Franklin says they only have a problem with internal taxes, not import duties. Well, let's give them more import duties then.
Townshend gets Parliament to pass the infamous Townshend Acts, slapping on heavy external taxes, hitting the colonies with taxes on all kinds of essentials. Tea? Obviously. Glass? Sure, why not? Paper? Might as well.
At last I'll have enough money to get a diamond grill like all those rappers.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, the colonists were super pumped about that. And by pumped, I mean ready to riot. So in 1775, it's becoming clear that war is going to break out, so Franklin returns home. But before he leaves,
Tea, glass, paper, taxed. Soon enough I'll have them paid for air.
what a
Well, good night, gentlemen. Time to head on home. What the?
Careful, Charles. You might tax us, but even you can't tax electricity.
Blasted colonial scum!
Alright, maybe that didn't actually happen. But let me tell you a real story where Franklin set a jerk straight. So as a teenager, rowing back to Philadelphia with a couple of friends from Boston, one of them is drunk out of his mind, won't even pick up an oar. Franklin decides, hey, if he's not rowing, I'm not rowing either. The drunk friend, furious. He stands up, swaying and shouting, I'll make you row. Better yet, how about I just throw you overboard? Franklin then grabs him by the sack, lifts him up and tosses him headfirst into the river. Now, Franklin knows the guy can swim well. So every time he swims towards the boat, Franklin and the others row just far enough away and taunt him by saying, ready to row yet? No! His friend keeps refusing to row, no matter what. Ready to row? No! Ready to row? No! But when it started looking like he might actually drown, they finally pulled him back into the boat and rowed him home, soaked and humbled. I love stories like this about Franklin. Anyways, when he arrived home, he was quickly elected as Pennsylvania's delegate for the Continental Congress. He also became the Postmaster General of the colonies, taking on yet another key role. His contributions didn't end there. Franklin had a hand in editing the Declaration of Independence, most famously changing Jefferson's line from "We hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable" to the more powerful, "We hold these truths to be self-evident."
Oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah.
But Franklin's role wasn't limited to editing. Alongside George Washington, he brought respect and stability to the younger, more energetic delegates, helping guide the revolution with his experience as an older statesman. As America's only international celebrity of the time, Benjamin Franklin is commissioned to be the American ambassador to France. Already beloved for inventing the lightning rod, he's a hit. People line the streets of Paris just to get a glimpse of him. Everything he does becomes a fad.
Oh my god! Oh, how simple! How American! I must have the hat of the beaver.
Sacre bleu! Franklin dressed simply, often wearing his bifocals which he invented and a beaver skin hat. This really crafted a mystique for him amongst the extravagant French society. Franklin might have been having fun, but he knew he had to get down to business, as his country needed to secure France's aid, navy, and recognition of its cause. And he did! He was able to secure a military alliance with France that secured nothing really for them other than embarrassing those Brits. He actually secures so much money in loans from France that it ends up bankrupting them in the future.
I really hope they pay us back.
One of the main reasons for the French Revolution, actually.
Let's eat cake!
Benjamin Franklin was a brilliant diplomat during the American Revolution. You could say the greatest to ever do it. Here's a fun fact. He had a spy on his staff. He figured out there was a spy, but he didn't know who it was. The spy's identity actually remained hidden for 100 years, until the British released secret documents. But instead of becoming paranoid, he flipped the script. You see, he knew anything he told the French would eventually reach the British. Instead of seeing this as a problem, Franklin used it to his advantage. By leaking bold strategies and showing how much French support the Americans had, he made the British worried about a costly, prolonged war against a united and formidable alliance. This pressure pushed the British to agree to peace talks faster. Franklin turned a potential weakness into a powerful tool, helping secure French aid and speeding up American independence. Gotta love it. Spy? No problem. I'll just use that to my advantage. Go! Then he actually chills in France for a bit because he's built up a salon in this highbrow social circle. But gradually, Franklin's health declines. Now he's in his 70s and the gout's getting worse.
Sorry.
So he comes back home. Not a bad run though. Got their money, navy, best men, then leveraged that to secure a favorable peace with Britain. And apparently their woman. Back in Philadelphia, Franklin's leadership quickly stood out. He was elected president of Pennsylvania, essentially the state's governor, but he wasn't done yet. His reputation earned him a spot at the Constitutional Convention, tasked with creating America's new constitution.
Who threw this?
At the convention, Franklin was the ultimate peacekeeper,
Hey,
a calm mediator everyone relied on. When debates grew tense, he'd invite delegates to his garden. Under the shade of his trees, discussions flowed smoothly, easing tensions and encouraging cooperation.
I suppose Hamilton isn't a power-hungry monarchist.
Despite being the oldest member by 15 years and twice the average age, Franklin's wisdom was invaluable. He guided everyone towards the Great Compromise, establishing the Senate and the House of Representatives. In his final speech, Franklin didn't shy away from admitting the Constitution wasn't perfect, but he emphasized the need for unity. As they signed, he pointed to the sun symbol engraved on George Washington's chair and shared that throughout the session, he often looked at it, unsure if it was rising or setting. But now, he felt it symbolized a rising sun,
That's so beautiful.
a beacon of hope for the new nation. So, what did we learn about Franklin? Curious, hardworking, eccentric. He didn't just watch history happen, he shaped it. He pushed for the creation of the United States, and he succeeded. He was someone that made things happen, always eager to learn, always moving forward. Each skill he gained built upon the last, helping him achieve bigger and bigger goals. Sometimes out of curiosity, sometimes out of necessity. Yes, granted, he was a genius. We might not all reach his level, but like him, we need to reach for excellence to even be decent. Even he admits he didn't always live up to his own 13 virtues. But also don't be so serious. Have some fun along the way. I know he did. Without him, who knows how different the world might be? His inventions? The global events he influenced? They might have been delayed, altered, or never happened at all. I'll leave it there. But until next time, stay curious.